Alright, welcome to Checker Quantics. And this tutorial I'll be taking us through structural timber for roof, that is the roof carcass. In the last tutorial on rate analysis, we talked about roof covering. Now I want to look at rate analysis for structural timber, timber works, roof carcass. Alright, this is what we want to be looking at in this particular tutorial. And there are several members of a roof carcass. We have the king posts, we have the rafter, we have the tie beam, we have the struts, we have the wall plate, we have the Purlins. Right, we are resting your roof covering. Alright, we'll be looking at them one after the other. Right, we'll be looking at wall plate now. Wall plate comes in 3 inches by 6 inches. And the length is always 3.6 meters, 3,600 mm. 1 inch is 25 mm. So 3 inches is 75 mm, 6 inches is 150 mm, that is 6 times 25. Alright, now remember also I always tell us that rate analysis has 3 major components. We have the material component, we have the labor component, and we have the profit and overhead. Now when it involves plant and equipment, that is included also, but 3 basic: material, labor, profit and overhead. All right, now these 3x6 hardwood cost 4,000 naira per length. All right, they are very thick and heavy also, and we'll be needing nail 5 inches nail, 550 kg. If we bring them into our analysis, excuse me, we have 75 by 150, which is what we want. One length is 4,000 naira, which is what we have here. Of course, it has to be treated. You can't just take them from the sawmill and go straight. You have to treat them, so 10% for treatment, which is that. Then we add nails. We want to say 550 kg, but of course, but for one length we need 0.1 kg for one length. All right, so 0.1 times 550. This is what we have. We have 55 naira for that. Then of course they're going to be cutting waste, and okay, cutting waste 10%. I wanted to explain something there now, because when you cut, if the length you want is not up to 3.6, that particular, even if it's let's say 2.4 you want to use, the remaining 0.6 is a waste. Even if it is 2 meter, if there's no place you want to use the remaining 1 meter or 1.6 meter, right, that becomes a waste. All right, so waste 10%. Then we have this total material cost. All right, this is for 3.6 meters, so for per meter divided by 3.6, so I have this particular figure here. All right, now look at the labor requirement. Of course, you have to cut. You remember you're working in the roof, so you have to raise hoisting to position. You have to fix them before you have to nail. So if you have one tradesman and one labor, you are going to do that 0.72 hour per length. Right, a gang of one tradesman, or the one skilled and one unskilled labor. All right, now one labor, remember, it is 35 per day. One skilled labor is 7,500 per day. So if you divide it by 8, and for 35 by excuse me, by 8 also, we are going to have the, see what I am talking about, 7,500 divided by 8. Right, I have 35 for unskilled labor divided by 8. All right, so if I sum this up and see it here, or I see my cursor here down here, 1375. all right, so that is how we arrive at this 1375. Of course, we have to the transportation, loading and transportation. Now loading and transportation is done on the materials. All right, so it's just treated here as labor because it is part of labor work. Now see what I have here, 5C. It is on the materials. Take note. Now can I still bring it here and say after nail treatment or hardwood, add labor, add the transportation? I can still do it here, right? I can still do it here, or I can still do it here. I'm going to arrive at the same thing. All right, because this is coming on this. All right, I hope this is clear. Now then, of course, wall plate wall plate is like it implies they sit on wall, right around the building. On the wall plate is where your tie beam rests. Your tie beam rests on the wall plate, so wall plate needs to be tied. The wall plate needs to be tied to stay in position. So if you bore a hole, like by bringing a hole in the wall plate, or to bore a hole in the wall plate, 0.35 skilled hour per length. Of course, skilled is paid at 37,500. If you divide it by 8, we have 937.5. The same thing, you have to load, unload, and you have to stack the materials purchased. So this is unloading and stacking, 0.06 labor hour per length. So if I multiply by this is this, and multiply by this is this also. So total labor is this. Of course, remember, this is the one gang and one skilled, a gang of one skilled labor, one unskilled. This is transport, loading and transport and loading. That is a labor work, and we will have a boring in hole for the wall plate, and we have stacking of the materials. So everything you just have to consider in your rate analysis, otherwise you will be shooting yourself on the leg. So for 1 meter, divide by 3.6, because this is for 3.6. Let me bolt this one and bolt this one, right? For 1 meter it is this. So now we have this summary for labor and material. All right, so we have material, this is what we have here. We have labor, this is what we have here. All right, so the total is this. Then of course I add withholding tax of 5%. I've explained this in my previous video. It's now 5%. All right, Finance Act also 5% of that. Then profit and overhead. I said profit and overhead is dependent on different companies and different firms. Some use 30%, some use 25%, some use 40%, depending on the company's overhead. All right, so the cost for hardwood timber wall plate per meter is 2,067 naira 73 kobo. All right, so it is basically, you have to as much as you can consider every possible thing that you know will be carried out on that particular item, so that you will not be pricing it less. All right, quickly we'll look at them. Rafters, tie beam, and structure. Of course, we know what rafters are. That one that is like triangle on the roof, right? The triangle part. Then the one that connects it at the bottom is what you call the tie beam. Then the one that is like zigzag, right, is what you call the, I know you're a professional, you know what these things. I'm just trying to bring them to your remembrance. That's what you call the struts and the tie, as the case may be. So they come 50 by 100 by 3.6, that is 2 by 4, 2 inches by 4 inches. I remember I said an inch is 25 mm, 2 inches 50 mm, 4 inches is 100, 2 inches rather is 50 mm, 4 inches is 100 mm by the length 3.6, and it costs for 2,550 naira per length, because we need nail 550 kg. Do the same thing we did in the previous is what we are still going to do here. See, this is the amount, right? We are adding treatment 10%, nails, all right, then add waste also. All right, so we get the material cost for 3.6 meter length. So if we divide by 3.6, we have for 1 meter, right? Okay, now the same thing goes for the labor, but of course this is less heavier. All right, so cutting hoisting for one tradesman and labor, but of course the complexities now is not, because now you have to in rafters you have to make sure it is aligned to the king post, and the tie beam also connects, and all. So 0.81 gang hour per length. Of course, one labor and one skilled labor and one unskilled labor, like what we explained in the previous here, right? The same thing, 937.5 plus 437.5, 937.5 for skilled labor, 437 for unskilled labor. All right, now we add that. So we add transport, the same thing. Remember, it is on the material. All right, because it's a labor item, that is why we're treating it there. So if I want to treat it here also, see, you are going to be right. If I want to put it here, add transportation, loading and unloading and stacking, you are going to still be correct. All right, so The same thing here. Yeah, my. All right, okay. Add of course transportation, then loading and unloading, loading and stacking, keeping them in position. 0.03 labor hour per length. Then we have this. All right, so this is total material, right? Then cost per meter. This is for 3.6 meter length. That is one full length, but your rate of course is per meter, per cubic meter, per number you get, per square meter, not per 3 square meter, not per 5 square meter, not per 2 meter. It is per meter, per cubic meter, per square meter. So per meter it is by 3.6. So we have that. So we have the total, the summary here. Material and labor. Material is this, see it here, right? Our labor is this, what we just did here. This is the sum. Then we add withholding tax, then we add our profit and overhead. All right, so quickly we look at purlins. Of course, we know what purlins are. Purlins is sit on the rafter. Purlins sit on rafter. On the purlin you now have your roof covering. All right, I know you know as a professional, but that is where you see your purlin. Most times they are maybe 900 centers, or most times they are 600 centers, but they come in 50 by 75 also, like we have here, right? 2 by 3, right? So that most times that's what you see them at. So the length is 1/800 per length. Just the same thing we did in the previous, the same process we are going to carry out. The only difference maybe in their labor, in the hoisting, in the fixing, and in the putting them in place. 1,800. All right. Well, treatment, just like we did. Nail, just like we did. Waste, just like we did. We add waste. All right, now cost per meter, which is, this is total, and this is the cost per meter. Okay, yes, great. Okay, all right, then our labor requirements. Now of course we need one skilled labor and one unskilled labor at 0.36 gang hour per length. All right, so we have one skilled labor, that is one skilled and one unskilled. 937.5 plus 437.5, that's what we have here. All right, for by this we have that. Of course, our transport, remember transport is on the material, and I said if I want to put it here I will still arrive at the same because it is on the material. All right, but it's a labor item. So loading and transporting, we have this is that 5%, then that gives us this particular total. So of course we have to unload, we have to stack. When you bring them to site, you have to keep them in a safe place and well arranged. 0.1 labor hour per length, right? So if I do this, I have just 4 naira 38 kobo just for you to carry and arrange them very well. So we have the labor total. This is for 3.6 meter length. 3.6 meter length. So for 1 meter length, labor is 165 naira for the 3 kobo. Now we add labor and material together, that is the sum. Remember I said you have labor, material, labor, profit and overhead. So we have material is this, see it here. All right, and labor is this, what we just calculated. If I add them together, then I add withholding tax and I add profits and overhead. All right, now this is basically how you carry out rate analysis for these timber works. All right, I'm going to end this tutorial here so the video don't become too long and boring. So basically what you need to know is you need material, you need labor, you need profit and overhead. Now the material is as obtained in your own personal work or in your own office. All you need to do is in whatever state you are or in whatever part of the country you are, what is the cost of the material? What is the cost of the material? Put it here in the template and boom, you get your figure. All right, I hope this video helps you in your professional career, helps you in your academics also. We'll be ending this tutorial here. It is Chaka context. If you are yet to subscribe to our YouTube channel, please do well to subscribe. If you are yet to visit our channel, please do well visit our channel, watch our videos, like, comment, and subscribe. Expect more and more videos from the desk of Chaka Context. I'll see you in the next video.